Welcome back, everyone. Glad you could be here. Gonna go into the second hour and a half or so of Siege. This segment's gonna be a slightly bit shorter, as we took our break a little bit late, but it's no problem. Let's go ahead and jump in Discord and see how everybody's been doing.
Back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry I keep on falling asleep. I'm really fucking tired.
It's no problem. It's probably also because I know for a fact that you usually lay down and play.
Yeah, it's just
Probably
finals are going on, and it's end of all school.
Totally.
So it's been a little bit. God.
I can understand that for sure. So it's about 2 hours later. There has not been time before you guys asked. There's not been time for a short rest. It's basically been 2 hours of mind-numbingly hunting down final parties and holdouts of creatures. But casualties from here on out for the past 2 hours have been a little bit minimal. Still definitely some across the board.
Hey, this one I'd like to get a status report on Dane on what is happening with the Norsemen.
Yeah, sorry, I actually deleted these when I didn't mean to delete them. I meant to send them to GM layer. Because it does matter that I keep track of those things. Yeah, totally, and we can definitely take care of that in a second. So, Kree, about half of your lizardmen foot soldiers are out of commission, either dead or injured for multiple days on end, which is a pretty significant blow. It's about 100 to 150 soldiers all said and told, and not all of them were lizardmen. Obviously, some of them were men as well. Across the rest of the army's taken about the same amount of casualties. So all told, probably about 300 casualties on your guys' end. And again, when I say casualties, I don't necessarily mean dead. I mean injured, maimed, wounded, etc.
Out of the fight for the foreseeable future.
Right, yeah, out of the fight, and again, you'll be able to recover a little bit, and as you go through more towns and acquire more soldiers, there are certain units who will gain more power, get more units, and then obviously Megan's, or I should say Aylin's, hospital will also increase the recovery rate of some of the, be able to save some men as well after the fact. But yeah, no, all told, it's probably definitely the biggest battle that has occurred yet. And even then, it was only kind of a skirmish. There hasn't been that really huge clash of armies. And, 300 out of a force of about 7,000 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but, you kind of look at it as a war of attrition as well. 10 more battles like that, and next thing you know, your force of 7,000 is now 4,000. So, yeah. Definitely significant losses, I would say. But you also know for a fact that you dealt significant damage as well. And while most wouldn't consider taking out skeletons to be something that is particularly helpful, the cool thing about taking out skeletons is you remove the materials for whatever was controlling them. It's not necessarily that you've killed units that can never come back, but you've at least eliminated a very large swath of material that a necromancer or magic user can use to summon more skeletons. So that's kind of the where we get into the whole, well, can't they just raise the undead and they don't really lose anything? No, it's not actually true. You still need substance, right, to be able to raise undead and stuff like that.
You need a corpse.
Right, yeah, exactly.
A completely crushed skeleton corpse wouldn't be able to be resurrected.
Right, exactly. And so a lot of these past 2 hours have been kind of that as well. Been kind of going around and making sure everything is crushed, making sure especially all the skulls are crushed, because we don't want any more flame skulls, right? You guys don't like those things?
No.
You don't tell me what I don't like.
I mean, Jackson, technically, I don't even know if you know what those things are, because, you didn't bother with them at all.
They are the worst thing in the entire world.
Yeah, no, you guys were dealing with that while Rocco was off in his own.
And Marcus. Marcus was there, too.
Yeah,
Marcus was there.
The literal 2 people that could have helped.
Yep. It's great, isn't it?
God, imagine if Marcus was here right now. Ugh.
That'd be great.
And somebody not like a pushover like Aelin.
Oh, Tony said that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Tell her!
it would have been better if she had joined right at that exact moment.
Tell her I'm in sleep-deprived delirium, and I will be held accountable for my actions.
It's an accurate way to put that.
No, you will be done.
So don't you
But
dare
anyways.
try to take that away from me. Don't you dare try to make the excuse for me.
Anyway.
I said it.
Anyways, so you all have recovered, and the process of gathering up the wounded, gathering up the dead, right? Because you can't just let the dead lay. In fact, as awful as it might be, there is probably a mandate that if there is a dead companion, they need to be burnt and then crushed, because leaving dead behind can be used against you. And so there's probably a lot of that process, right? Like, corpses are being identified if they can be, and it's mostly it's taking a lot of necessary stuff from you, Kree, as well, because you don't know the name of all these men, all these lizard men that are dead, and so gathering up all that information is hard and tedious. But again, they have to be. You can't perform ritual burial rites when you're dealing with necromancers and craziness like that.
Everything has to be burned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Morella has something for that, actually.
Yeah, the first 2 things that I would like to know is, what have each of you been doing in the immediate aftermath and cleanup period that we are now in? And then the second thing is, like, I want to see the inter-character reactions when you come across each other, when you see each other again, that kind of stuff. Because Kree and Morella met in the battle. Hannibal was kind of off by himself, and Farron was kind of off by himself. So, when there's a coalition or coagulation is actually the word I was looking for, of characters again, I want to see what the reactions there are.
So
Yeah.
Hannibal did mention something first, so go ahead, Hannibal.
Yeah, I want to first check up with Dane on
Okay.
what's happening with the Norsemen.
Sure. So you check in with Dane, and Dane actually says that he's on his way back now. But last he left, which was probably about maybe 30 minutes or so ago, at this time, they had sat down to continue betting. Most of them were asleep at this time, and they had posted sentries, but not many, and not very strong sentries either.
So now's the perfect time to attack.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Fuck yeah, I'm gonna go seek out Cahill.
Okay, all right, so that's what you're doing. Are you contributing to the cleanup in any way?
You know what? Fuck yeah, I'll inspire the men. You did good this battle, men. Your children will sing praises of you.
Okay.
Basically, letting everybody know that they did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I'll use my token to show you. Also, don't get triggered, Dalton.
Too late.
Hopefully.
It's the man who
Please,
killed you.
Deidre's dead in the fucking ground. Alright.
Water, technically, but yes.
Water and ground. Same difference.
Should I make a manipulation check?
Morella's a much better character.
Yeah, sure, if you want to make a manipulation check. I think
Sure.
you're fairly well renowned at this point, though, Hannibal. Like, you've
No,
been
I
nailing
wanna.
you've been nailing almost every one of your manipulation checks.
Yeah, but like I want to just inspire the men some more.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Continue on this path. Damn. Yeah, so I think there's a resounding cheer, and you probably hear some, like, chanting, like, there's definitely some, like, 4K Hill, right? And then there's definitely, like, for the Emperor, there's 4, Emperor Magnus the Pious, but I think you catch wind of a couple of for Hannibal D. Solomons, right? Like for the Solomon name, like coming out from the crowd as well.
Hannibal has mixed feelings on that, knowing how the Inquisitors aren't going to like that.
Definitely not.
Because I imagine that the kind of relationship between Hannibal's family and the Inquisitors is that
it was very bad.
Yeah, it was the Inquisitors put up with it because the Emperor allowed it.
That's the only reason they did. They probably even tried to undermine as much as they could.
Yeah, so they might not like, especially with one hanging around the camp. This might cause some conflict.
Very much so, yes.
Mm-hmm. So,
but
yeah,
also they're chanting the Solomon name again.
That does feel nice.
Okay. And then you're gonna go find Cahill, and we'll deal with that in a second, because I assume that's gonna be a scene for most everybody. Morella, what are you doing?
Well, first let me just do this real quick. And then, because I feel like that thematically it makes sense that like after she's done raging, after the battle is cleaned up, she takes a calm breath, recovers a little bit.
Sure.
So.
Are you now exhausted as well?
Fuck no, man.
That's frenzy.
That's frenzy.
That's
I'm only a level 1 barb.
He literally just has the rage.
Yep. Thematically, it makes sense. And she is going to find other paladins and priests.
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna go
paladins. Mainly paladins for this reason, as she is going to gather them and like essentially they're going to do the huge Viking whatever bonfire burning of the corpses type of thing, and she is going to do funeral rite.
Ooh, what's this? I don't even know what this is. You bless
This
one
is
corpse
from,
within 5 feet of you. The next 24 hours,
Dark
target can't become undead or any means or wish spell. Nice.
If you want to know the location of it, it's from it's from an Unearth Arcana, and it's a ritual paladin spell, and I was like, I'm so taking that because that's so good.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
So you're gonna perform a ceremony with
A bunch of other paladins, because that you said before in this game that paladins are really the ones that consecrate areas as opposed to clerics and things of that.
Yeah, correct.
Things of that sort. So I feel like the funeral rite done by the paladins makes the most sense. So essentially a big bonfire, and we funeral rite the shit out of it, and to make sure that it cannot be afflicted with necromancy magic.
Sure, absolutely. I think that is appropriate.
I totally get on this as well, as I stand near the giant bonfire of the corpses and.
Do you address your injuries at all, Farron? Because you're pretty fucked up, man.
For the time being, it's just kind of simple bandages, but no ring thing. But
actually, I would like to know. I did my descriptions, but I want to know what exactly, like, how does Farron look?
Yeah, I'd want to see.
Yeah, because I think that might affect the way that people react to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's probably it's mostly from crushing, so there's probably like a bit deformed, kind of almost like a caved in chest cavity.
That's good.
Very bloody, but yeah.
Anything else you'd like to know, Megan?
Jesus.
Yeah, you missed a lot, Megan. Where were you?
I would also like to bury. I'd also like to bury Morella sometime close soon.
Please, I couldn't fucking die even if Jordan tried.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second, but okay. Good try.
Yeah, no.
Don't tell me what's going on!
Farron's at 7 health. It's fine.
Yeah, as I stand,
and is probably only alive because I wanted to wrap up the battle quicker.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, as I stand near the huge bonfire of corpses, I perform a song of sending to help the soldiers feel that their fallen comrades, their souls can rest in peace.
Awesome. Fantastic. Do you want to make a performance check?
I will.
Okay.
I mean, I feel it's a must. Holy
Wow.
shit.
Hey.
I mean, so, like,
that's fairly apt because I'm in so much pain.
Yeah, and like
It's-
the strange part is basically everyone except for the party, right, still believes it to be like this beautiful, like very suiting tune that is being played, right?
It's still better than the average Joe.
Exactly,
Even when you're
exactly.
your
It's
worst.
better. It's better than most minstrels they've probably ever heard in their life because these are commoners, right? So yeah,
But the
But
party
we're like
knows
the
that
shit.
I am not on point.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Are you standing nearby Morello when you do this?
Yeah. If you're
Yeah.
actually purifying the corpses, then I'm very close.
Yeah,
to it.
I bet, because I imagine this as, like, you're playing and, like, she can tell that, like, you're not playing maybe a note or two off key.
I wince when I try to reach a high note in the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. His breathing is ragged too, right? Like, he's not breathing properly because he's got like 5 cracked ribs or something ridiculous.
Yeah, she just simply, like, darts her eyes over and just says, "We will take care of that when we're done with this." Mr. McKibe.
Mister.
I'm going up in the world.
Dave.
Yeah, fantastic. Kree, what about you? You have a lot of work, I think, to do.
Yes.
Beyond this, because, like I said, mostly it was your men that kind of bore the brunt of the assault.
Yes.
So yeah, you have quite a lot of work behind that to do. But how are you doing this? What actions are you taking? What are you doing during this downtime period, or aftermath period? I guess is more appropriate.
So from what I've been hearing, most of the party or higher ups are very sympathetic. They're very together with the men. For Creed, this is a time to be hard. This is a time to get things done before the coming storm and grieve afterwards, type of thing.
Sure.
So he's very like, what is there left to do? What can we do next? Just making preparations for whatever's coming. Not leaving the bodies lying around, but just stacking them. Like they haven't been gotten around to burning them yet. Type of thing.
Yeah. You're just like making it easier as you pass for people that are taking care of that thing to come pick them up. And
Yes.
you're probably organizing the men, getting them like ready, like getting the men that joined later, right? Like the rest of the army that was slow to react. You're organizing them, right? You're like getting them ready, like just in case there is another attack. Like we need to be on guard. You definitely didn't kill all of the skeletons. Like there's still hundreds of skeletons, probably like out in the hills somewhere. So like you really need to be ready, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. And making sure the men who were at the very start of the fight, making sure they all get a rest. Because if they're not rested, it will be bad.
You missed it, Megan. I called them Skelebros the whole time.
Yeah, it was Skelebros the whole time.
Skelebros.
Shit.
Yeah, fantastic. So while all of that is going on, we see Aelin and Daniela, who emerge kind of like walking at the front of this group of villagers, right? Like not soldiers, not armsmen, like not guards, nothing, but at like a group of villagers, and you can see that Daniela probably is walking with a slight limp, and Aelin probably is, maybe like some of the bottom of her robes are torn a little bit. She hasn't gotten around to like getting new robes or mending them yet. And they kind of like you two of you come walking, and I actually specifically want to leave what happened kind of in the cloud
Dark.
of unknowingness, right? And the villagers are following you over there. You succeeded in your task. It wasn't just that one thing, obviously. After that one thing, there were many other things that you had to deal with. And you returned to, like, the town proper. And you see this large bonfire, and you can smell that gross stench of rotting, or, burning flesh. And you see that there are at least still men here, so you didn't lose the battle. But there doesn't appear to be any enemies about yet. What would be the first thing you would do in this aftermath period, Aelin?
I think I would immediately go to the hospital, man. See how my people there fared.
Okay.
After leaving them basically abandoned.
Yeah, so you head off into the city, and Daniela is with you. And all of the villagers, they follow you.
Go
I
home.
mean,
Go to your masters.
not gonna white fang them all. So,
Sure.
no, I it's almost as if she doesn't notice anymore.
Sure. Yeah. So I think that the group is probably aware enough that they see this occur. They see Aelin and Daniela kind of enter the city gates, and they see this group of like 30 to 60 villagers in like a procession almost follow them in. But the group of you are busy, right? You have like all this other shit to do. But Hannibal, you said that you were heading in to go see Kaelin, right? Or Jesus, Cahill. Fuck.
No, I wanted to see my lay on the side, Cajun.
Cajun, yeah, sure.
I'm tired. Fuck you.
So you are you head in to see Cahill, and are probably at the gates around this same time that that Aelin and Daniela enter. And you probably notice each other. I don't know if you nod or say anything as you're passing.
I tried to ignore her.
Okay.
Oh, I would absolutely say, oh, Hannibal, it's so good to see you're all right.
Yeah, sure. How are you?
I'm sorry. I'm just fine, thank you.
That's great to hear. And how's your girlfriend?
Yeah, and Daniela kind of like looks and she says, "I am fine as well, thank you."
Oh, that's just great. That's great.
Yeah, and I think Daniela
That's-
like kind of side eyes you, Aelin.
Aelin doesn't notice him being weird.
That's
Right.
That's great.
Yeah,
What's-
Daniela does because she's not used to it.
Yep.
What's the deal with the mob behind you?
The mob?
It's not
That's
really a
what-
mob, but yeah.
Remember, this is Hannibal talking. He'll use abusive words for describing things.
Mm-hmm. So, what's with the smattering of people behind you?
Oh, they were simply with me during the battle. I guess they are amiss as to what to do now, so they just decided to follow me.
Okay, I got this. Go home.
Yeah, I think nobody responds to you. They don't even acknowledge your presence, Hannibal.
Alright, they're obviously stupid.
Wait, do you say that?
Yeah.
Aelin just kind of scoffs and says, well, I think we're all just kind of in shock. If you don't mind, I have a place I need to be.
Me too. And then I head off towards Cahill.
Yeah. And Daniela kind of like looks between the two of you at this exchange because she knows you guys have traveled together. So like maybe she's like, maybe this is a thing they do. Haha. and the two of you with your contingent of villagers head off towards the hospital. And when you arrive, you can see that the priests are currently like mending some wounds already. Like all of the contingent of like priestly figures were here during the battle and fending off the skeletons that had gotten on the inside of the city. And you can see a bunch of them, are like helping mend soldiers that are coming in and like helping coordinate. And when you walk in, Aelin, I don't know what you were expecting when you walked in, but when you walked in, like someone like an attendant probably comes over to you and says, yes, Holy One, are you injured? Are you in need of assistance?
Oh, no, I'm quite all right. I was going to ask you the same.
Yeah, she's like, very well. Are any of the members of this party injured? And she kind of like looks behind you. There's probably some minor knocks and bruises, but nothing serious.
I relay nearly exactly that to her.
Yeah, and she says, all right, we'll put them on low priority, but if any of you, and she like calls out, she kind of like ignores the question you asked her, because she's like in work mode, and she kind of like calls out and she's like, any of you who are injured that is actively bleeding, please come with me and follow me this way. Gertrude here will take any of you that have contusions and will lead you to this ward. And like they begin splitting off and dividing the people like efficiently.
I know, Aelin actually smiles at that. Like she feels such pride that they are actually, so autonomous without her.
Right, and yeah, that's definitely what it's meant to convince. And Daniela, next to you, she goes, well, shit. You've done it, finally.
See? Just needed a little faith.
A lot of
Hannibal.
Yeah, and
Hannibal across the way just feels sick.
Yeah, and Daniela says, yeah, and a lot of work. Well, I know you probably wish to stay, but there are matters that need discussing.
I think Aelin, before Daniela looks like she's about to depart, she kind of grabs her arm and just says, thank you. We couldn't have made it without you.
I think she's just, yes, I'm sure that my services were completely needed, oh Holy One. And she kind of like gives you a wink. But also like, she also gives you a little bit of a bow as she leaves.
You just nod. No response.
Yeah, and she leaves you in your hospital, and heads off, probably to join Morella and Farron out in doing the job of consecrating the bodies and making sure that everything is okay. So, Hannibal, you get over to the inn, right, the tavern where all of the head honchos were staying. And when you arrive, you can see outside, you can see the council members stand around with a couple of attendants and probably some servants, right, who are like bringing things to and from. And you can see they're kind of arrayed in like a half circle around two individuals. You can see Cahill standing in the middle, kind of like addressing the men and women that are in attendance. And you can also see you see Arkady kind of with his arms crossed, nodding occasionally at things that Cahill is saying, and kind of surveying he appears to be like kind of gauging the reaction of the crowd gathered around them.
Okay, I'll join the crowd for now, and when I find a chance, I'd like to speak to Cahill about forming an attack immediately on the Norsemen.
So I think you realize very quickly that that's actually exactly what they're talking about. It seems like Cahill, and again, it looks like he's taking some direction from Arkady in this. He's, giving this speech about how, we need to get the men who are all on horses, we need to get them out and get them traveling over there so that perhaps by daybreak we can assault them. The men who fought in this battle, leave them to rest. We need to bring only our best. They will never expect an attack in the morning. if these two are coordinated together. As well, we need some men to hunt down these pockets of resistance from these skeletons. Like, he's going on, but you realize very quickly that, like, exactly what you wanted is already kind of happening.
Can I volunteer to lead the group to attack, as I have dealings with the Norse government?
Yeah, and so there's probably excuse me, there's probably a moment where it's probably Lord Groundberg. He probably looks and he says, "Sire, who will lead this attack?"
I shall.
Yeah, and you do the raise your hand, step into the light, right? Like, I shall lead it. And Cahill turns for a moment and looks at you, and he smiles. And Arkady probably, like, looks at you a bit confused. His eyes probably narrow a little bit, and his eyebrow goes up. And Cahill says, "Hannibal D. Solomon, it is good to see you, my friend. I am glad that you survived our little bit of a skirmish here. You said you volunteer for this assignment. Tell me,
Yes.
what background and why should you be selected as the leader of this contingent?"
I take off my mask and I pull off my hood and I just say, "They did this to me."
Yeah, and so I think there's, like, shudders that kind of go throughout the crowd, and Cahill keeps his composure quite well. For a moment, he probably, like, there's maybe like a huh moment for him, but then I think he smiles again, and you can see, like, there are some others in the crowd who do not have the same reaction. There are probably some who recoil a bit from you because you're basically like Deadpool, right?
Yeah, like more imagine Two-Face, just like no skin on the side of my face.
Yeah, and I think Arkady probably like puts a couple fingers on his temple and begins massaging. Like, there are things that he needs to find out now, and I think that Cahill probably, like, grabs you, puts his arm around you, and pulls you more towards the center, Hannibal, and he says, "I think this will work well. A man on a quest of vengeance will be just what we need in the upcoming fight. Don't you agree?" And I think that it's slow, but they begin to agree to that, and Cahill probably says, "Very well. Hannibal, you shall lead these men. Atop your steed, we will take only the finest mounted knights and soldiers in our cavalry. Footmen would not be able to keep up, nor be able to reach the destination. However, we will send some hounds with you as well. Perhaps they can counteract this speed and ferocity that these Norsemen have."
Hale just laughs a little bit as the excitement just builds in him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cahill probably looks at the crowd and he says, "All right, you are all dismissed. I only need the council members. We must formulate the plan and who will go and how we shall assault them. Come." And he leads you, Hannibal, and Arkady joins him, and then the rest of the council joins you inside the tavern to begin making plans. On the exterior, back at Morella and Farron, and Kree, you guys it's a long and arduous task to do what you're doing, but it's proceeding along probably at pace, which is, again, very slow. And Daniela joins you guys as well with all the other paladins, and you begin, finishing up the consecration and getting all the bodies and doing all the things with all the stuff, the typical things that you do. Once that is completed, what's the next step for the two of you?
So, as we finish up this funeral rite that the paladins were doing, I look at Farah and I'm like, "Come." And she begins walking.
Yeah, I probably slowly follow behind with a limp and ask, "Hey, what is it, milady?"
Just follow. And she doesn't lead you straight to Aelin's hospital, essentially, area. She goes a little bit, like, kind of off between, like, tents and things like that. And, like, pulls you to the side. And then, like, kind of, like, takes off, like, your chest piece of your armor. Because you're wearing, like, leather armor, right?
Yeah.
She does so, maybe a little forceful. Not to the point where she's trying to cause more pain to you. But it's... I mean, she does have delicate hands. Like, she's pretty dexterous, even though she's really strong. It's just she's really strong and you're really hurt. So there is going to be pain involved, one way or another.
Yeah,
No
I mean,
way
you could
around
take a
it.
point of damage if you wanted to, Farron.
Yeah, I probably would.
So, and like when she takes off the armor, that's like probably fucking destroyed a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up.
She,
What a
she like
surprise.
she looks at like your midriff.
Yeah, so you see, like, when you unbutton it, like, unlace his shirt, right, and, like, pull it to the side, it's just black and blue and, like, this reddish color. You can tell he's got, like, tons of internal bleeding and, you know, all of this, like, I guess it's not even black, right? It's just, like, red and, like, there's, like, splotchy white patches that, like, aren't getting blood anymore, like, across his entire torso, basically.
Yeah, and
Farron looks like he might bleed out from the inside at this point.
yeah, and she like looks at you, like in like the eye, and there's anger, but it doesn't seem like she's like angry like at you. It's more of like what she's seeing, and then she like grits her teeth and she's like, "Didn't I give you an order?"
I'm afraid, my lady, in the intensity of battle, it is hard to stay glued to your side.
And you can see water forming in her eyes a little bit as she looks at you directly. Now, she says, "But it's an order."
As soon as the battle was announced, I ran as fast as I could to the front lines, my lady.
I suppose there is no real helping with your idiocy. But I can at least do this for you. And she leans in and kisses your chest, like around the heart. And I am going to lay on hands on you for 15 points. And so you can feel like your ribs like reforming from this kiss. It's long as she does this. So yeah, you got healed for 15 points.
Yeah,
Boom.
the rib bones sort of like break again as they have to go back into place.
Mm-hmm.
You just hear this creaking, and it's probably even more painful than what it was just a second ago.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
As she like pulls away then, and she's like, "Now, next time, follow the order. Now let's go get you patched up, Farron." And then at this point she actually like takes your hand and starts leading you towards the hospital.
Okay. Kree, what about you? You've organized all of the men, and everything's kind of going to order, but you're kind of like you're at a strange point, right? Where like you don't have any orders from higher yet. The losses still haven't been like fully totaled, and so the individual units are kind of like leaderless, and don't have a lot of direction. What would you do in order to like kind of maintain the order?
Did I notice any of the soldiers, both lizardmen and not, standing out during the fight with the skeletons?
Oh, I think absolutely.
I would definitely start going around and handpicking those guys and setting them in leader positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Just
So
field promotions.
You're like
all
going
around.
through the ranks and like field promoting people. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great.
Get a field promotion.
And yeah, so like the other yeah, you get a field promotion and you get a field promotion. Everybody gets a field promotion.
Yeah.
So I think that surprisingly, what this does is actually going to help your integration, because you lost so many lizardmen that there are units of lizardmen that are too slim to be considered a unit and need to be like kind of bolstered by soldiers, and then there are lizardmen leaders who have lost like all of their units that need to be in like charge of men, and vice versa too, right? Like sometimes like you might find a particular like human that was, you know, fighting with the lizardmen tooth and nail, and like a bunch of lizardmen like really respect him now, and you kind of like give him charge over a couple of like Saurus warriors and a couple skinks or whatever, like some smaller units or whatever. So I think that all of this process that you're doing is going to help with your integration. But I do want you to make me a manipulation check just to kind of ease that process as much as possible. It's all going to be good. It's just how good is it going to be?
Definitely using inspiration here.
Okay.
I guess just persuasion. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
13's
Not the
13's
worst.
good. It's good enough, right? Like in this moment, it's not something that like you are kind of just like, hey, you know, you were valiant in that battle. I need you to help me lead a group of men, and like, you know, you pull them to the side and like place them with a bunch of dudes, and like it's awkward, right? Like they're in an awkward place, but they all understand the need for it, and so they all follow along as you kind of go up and down the lines and begin organizing.
Like it's something they were doing kind of anyway. I just kind of pushed them in the right direction.
Right, absolutely.
Awesome.
So awesome. And then I think probably within maybe like you're like 3/4 of the way through that, a messenger or a crier probably comes running through the ranks, shouting for all lieutenants, all officers, you know, prepare your best cavalrymen, form them into a unit to ride as soon as possible, and then just like repeating the message over and over again, you know, per the orders of the one and only Lord Cahill. Per the orders of Lord Cahill, please form your men and women into a cavalry units to ride as soon as possible, etc., etc., etc.
Good thing we're all ready already.
Yeah, it continues moving. Yeah, and I think that like you hear this and you're like, okay, good. You know, now I can start to do. Now I have a direction, and you start on that direction. Excellent. So. Hannibal, to answer your question, it might work, but they don't play on an honor system. So like you might
They're
do
not
that
Vikings.
and then they just like, okay, now we kill everybody and just descend upon everybody.
Okay,
Not
cool.
Vikings.
You know what I mean?
Damn, there's something I really want to do, and I've always wanted to do it since I got this character. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it.
What a shame.
Well, I mean, if you let me know things like this, I can set up some kind of scenario for you.
Okay, I'll text you.
Okay. So I think that the next scene we probably see is Farron and Morella arriving at the hospital. And Aelin, you've got your sleeves rolled up, right? And you're setting to work, but like you don't have a whole lot of work to do. Like when you go to like step in somewhere, it's probably like, somebody's probably like, oh, we have like this and this, like this is all set up, and like, Aelin, maybe you kind of realize that you might be a little bit in the way. Just like kind of like
nobody loves me.
Willy-nilly healing.
We're about to give you something to do.
And yeah, it's kind of that weird. It's that weird thing of you did such a good job
Like,
setting this up.
like I'm happy, but now I feel amiss.
Right? Yeah, and that's exactly I think the feeling you should have is like, yeah, I did a great job, but now I don't have purpose anymore. Like,
sad.
Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. In walks Farron, broken.
Right, yeah, and I think that there's probably a moment, like, you probably do the thing where, like, somebody walks away and you heal him anyway, and you're like, there you go, you're fine now. He
had, like, literally a scratch. I'm like, oh, no, let me.
Yeah, you, like, shove everybody out of the way, you're like, I got this, guys.
They're like, no, it's just oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're probably, like, a little more, like, you're just kind of, like, looking around, and you see Farron walk in, and there's probably a moment where, like, Farron, even with the 15 extra hit points, you were pretty hurt. So maybe like you had to throw your arm around Morella at some point. Yeah, and so like in walks Morella with like Farron draped over her shoulder, right? Like head down, like barely walking.
And I feel like she would be able to zone in on Aelin, like the moment they walk in.
Yeah, I think there's a moment like everybody's looking around and then your eyes meet, right?
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
I would obviously immediately rush over because I have something to do now.
Yep.
And I would say, oh my goodness, Morella, Farron, what happened?
Yeah, I look at Farron and then look at
blood.
Yeah, I look at Aelin and I'm like,
this is just a scratch.
Oh, come. And I'm like leading over to a empty bed.
'Tis only a scratch.
And she like lets you like puts him down, and then like she begins she like stands there for a bit before walking away. But before she like walks out of my hearing distance, she just says, he got into this mess because he disobeyed an order. I don't intend on losing another one. And then she walks away.
Perfect. So Farron, Aelin begins to set to work. And Aelin, yeah, it's probably not the most hurt person you've ever seen and saved before, but you can tell Farron is probably like, and it's, Farron has his own healing magic, right? And so like you can tell just by evaluating that like healing magic has been used on him already, and like a lot of it, because Farron used like 3 healing words back to back, and then Morella used, so like he's basically lost 2 lives, right? Like he's lost all of his hit points once and healed a little bit and then lost most of them again. So you can tell like a lot of healing has been done already. So how do you set about healing Farron? Also, I would like to mention to you, not that it may or may not matter a whole lot, but you are missing, I didn't actually put this in there, but you are missing some spell slots.
Okay. I assume you'll tell me what...
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Or do you want to just do it? Okay.
Well, you did fight a flesh golem.
Fight is a strong word.
Would you fight a flesh?
Disappear?
That's something I actually wanted to talk with. I want to talk with you offline about, Megan.
Okay.
Where? Oh, you don't have the...
Have what?
The dashboard up.
Oh God. Okay.
I would say that's about right.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
You're an angel. Catch him up.
Sure.
You're really depleted, aren't you?
We did 2 hours of combat while you were gone.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fine. I expected much of that, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to what was used exactly. or potentially. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Anyway, do I have? Hold on. What do I have? I have at least one of each, right? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that Aelin probably. So, although this is kind of strange, I think that Aelin would actually just start really small, and heal like minor things first. Mainly because she wants to hear what happened, and keep him there longer, but also to feel productive. So I think that she's actually going to use. Yeah, no. Yeah. Not to like draw out your misery, because obviously she would heal you enough so that you're not in any sort of serious pain. But I think that she could do it in like the blink of an eye, right? But I think that even she, to some of her, I think out of character slightly, I think that she would take longer than she has to heal you. So, yeah. So she would probably ask you what, like, to tell the tale of what happened, because, you know, she doesn't really know much of what occurred because she was all by herself with some people. So would you tell her a grand tale, or would you tell her more what happened?
Oh, I mean, I'm a bard, of course. Even
That's
when
what
I'm
I figured.
coughing up blood,